In Your Wildest Dreams book tag created by Heather from Heather Reads. And um I don't know. In different moods you have different I could definitely have different answers. This is the mood I'm in at the moment. So let's do this tag of indulging in your I don't know if my dreams aren't that wild at the moment. So let's go from it there. My there's there is a annoying commercial series of commercials, which I'm sure are replicated all around North America. This is in Canada, where it's for like a lottery thing, and a person is like, "Oh, you have to dream big," and this figure, this chirpy little guy, shows up in people's dreams and is a dream coach to make you dream more and more extravagant, glitzy, ridiculous dreams of like bigger and bigger and more opulence. And I don't like that guy. So that's where I'm coming at from my In Your Wildest Dreams book tag. It's not a reaction to anybody who's done this tag. It's a reaction to that. I won $1 billion and I'm going to live on a private island and sit on a gold toilet kind of dream. I'm reacting against that. So number one, the prompts are: number one, your fantasy time and place to read a book. My fantasy time and place to read a book would be a small cabin on the east coast of Vancouver Island, kind of Long Beach, Tofino area. It's raining outside. I'm in a small cabin that has no Wi-Fi. That has, myself and Jean, my partner, have just kind of are all snuggled up. It's nice and warm, even while it's wet and raining outside, and we're reading. And I'm just immersing myself in a book. That is my fantasy time and place. It's also a time and place that I have been in my past, and that I would like to capture again in the future. So that's number one. Number two, your fantasy personal library, or your personal library if you have attained your fantasy. And I think for me, my fantasy personal library is when I was growing up. We had in my family home, there was a long, narrow, basically kind of a pantry closet that was like, it's like longer. It was probably longer than what this room is, like maybe by another like 2 or 3 feet, but it was like really narrow, and you could basically one person walking down and on one side of it were shelves, and most of those shelves were, it's a pantry, so it was for putting like cans in. My mother would have like the glass things, so she would can pears and peaches and stuff like that, and that would go in there. But that was only like the first initial thing. What also was in there, what my parents used that for, was for books. And yeah, my father would have like a whole bunch of penguins. I mean, both my parents emigrated from the UK, so it was a lot of the books that I could tell that they had probably brought with them when they had emigrated in the late 60s. With additions also, but they'd also probably picked up penguins here. But it's like a lot of orange spined penguins and things like that. And I think that is if I think of what is a personal library in my head, like the ideal personal library, that's kind of a core of it. This long, narrow room. It actually sort of reminds me of when they do those videos now of the people going through the Criterion collection. They have this little closet or room where they have all the Criterion things. It's like that idea of just like, it's pure book, going all the way back. Yeah, that is my idea of kind of the fantasy library. Not surprisingly, it is also something that comes from my past and is implanted in my brain as sort of this platonic ideal of a lovely little personal internal space library. That's the internal library that I carry around inside of myself. Number three, imagine you have decided to build a bookshop. What would you call it? Would it sell new or secondhand books? Would it sell anything else? What features would you want in that shop? Um, I thought about this question because I don't know if I would ever actually want to own or build a bookstore, but I think what I think of is a store that it's a place where people can come and borrow books and then hopefully return them. A library, a kind of a public library. There's Garth Nix, and in this thing of like what would that look like. There is a fantasy series by Garth Nix. It's the Old Kingdom books, and the second book in that series, Lyriel. A large section of that is this young girl, kind of uncertain parentage, alone, kind of growing up alone, not like with particularly any friends, except for a disreputable dog, which is like the best friend you can have. Um, and yeah, this is it's a library that seems sort of almost endless that you can get lost in, that has monsters in it that are dangerous. You can almost cross this library with the library in oh God, Eco's the name of the name of the Rose. Those two libraries are just kind of these lost, labyrinthine places of endless books and dangers and hidden creatures. That kind of a library. That's, one that like you need a guide. You might get lost. But also a place you can kind of there's a danger you're going to lose yourself, but also a danger you're going to find yourself as well. So yeah, that would be my see, it's funny, I'm very concrete about some of the other things, some very much in the past, but that is the thing where just like, it just opens up and it goes on forever. Probably goes down into the bowels of the earth, and up into the great craggy mountains of endless books. So you're looking from spaces everywhere. It's like interdimensional. That idea of a kind of a kind of a thing, of a bookstore. Number 4, one person, not a booktube creator, with whom you could have a good conversation about books. If you don't know a person like this, who do you know that you would wish to become a reader so that you could talk to books with them, about books with them? I've horribly misread that. I mean, for me in my life, I have, I'm not somebody who has particularly. I have family. I've got Ja, my love, my wife. Her mother. We just celebrated Mother's Day, and it's very much like I did celebrate Mother's Day, and I celebrated it with my mother-in-law. My own mother has passed away. Um, but I don't really. I have people I know at work and stuff like that, but I don't really have friends. I mean, the person that I talk to or I talk towards a lot is Ja about books. Um, uh, so that's the person probably in my real life that I mostly talk about books, and she is a very patient and loving, beautiful woman who every once in a while will just sort of let me kind of talk something out to her. But she's also quite happy that I decided to make this make this channel and talk to all you imaginary people out there. I watched one of the reasons I'm probably doing this tag is because I watched Kelly talk about this and sort of felt a bit of kind of fellowship of introvert to introvert there, of not having that kind of a friend base around me, but finding some kind of fellowship online, and in this community, with that, for all the prickliness and misunderstandings and um, uh, you know the both the positive and negative that happens when you get a whole bunch of people together. I really appreciate that kind of a fellowship, and yeah. So that is good. That is good. Number 5, if you won $1 million or pounds or yen or euros, etc., and you could only spend it on books or book-related items, how would you spend it? And I think this is the final question. I mean, this one, it's very much I think you need to split it into two, because I think, and I think maybe I'm more prone to split it into two than some people. Some people are just immediately, look, there are a lot of people out there who can't read. And I would use that money to fund literacy programs, whether that was for children, whether that was for adults. We are super blessed if you're sort of someone who is interested in this sort of stuff and are part of this community of breathing. Reading is breathing to us. Reading is a part of what refreshes and rejuvenates and keeps us together. You know, it's a part of us. It's just natural. But there's a lot of people who, for whatever circumstances in their life, that they didn't get that. And I mean, whether that is, you just didn't have the background and the people who read to you. I'm sure I was read to as a very small child. I do not remember ever not reading myself, but I know that my parents read to me, sort of that nurturing, or just, the thing of, having some kind of dyslexia or other kind of condition that made it difficult. That's still a real barrier, even in this time when we're obviously transitioned to a far more visually oriented thing. There's still so much text, and how powerful that is to make sure that people at least can have like kind of a functional use of that, like just employment, for getting crucial information, just like health, finance, things like that. It's so important on that level. I mean, I love the stories, but just that level. So yeah, there's that is funding that. So there's that, which I think is super, super important, and is something to think about, and to think about just on it. Even if you don't have $1 million, what can you do to support people? There's a part of my professional life which is supporting people, which is reading. I read to one of the individuals that I support, and that's important to that person, daily in their life. So there's that. But I also think, okay, well, what's the What's the $1 million? Okay, this is no, you're not doing the kind of the selfless thing. What is something in your own life that you would do? For that, like, God, and that is a difficult question. Because it's like, reading wise, I mean, that's one of the kind of beauties of reading, is like, it's not that well, I shouldn't say that. It's not that expensive of a habit. It's like, I'm like, I've got a Kindle, which is, it's like less than $100, which, that's an economic barrier to people. But I can, and the book on it I got from Project Gutenberg, so that was free. There's a lot of ways that it's not something where I need $1 million to. I just need I need some place to sit, and I need a book, and it's like, that seems like okay, so after, maybe it's not going to cost me that much. Like, how much does it really cost you to read? Especially if I'm not somebody who is interested in collecting books. I'm not interested in kind of fetishizing kind of like editions or things. Not, people get their joys wherever you get your joys, but it's not something that applies to me. Which isn't to say I'm freaking a monk here. I mean, I'm living in all this clutter. I should probably just hire someone to help me tidy up my office. And you know what? I could just do that on my own if I set my mind to it. Which is to say, I don't know what I would do with $1 million. I get, it's on a personal level. I don't know. I don't know. That's where my money makes my imagination fail. So I'll leave it there. I will leave it there. So thank you, Heather, for this creating this tag. I don't know if this is particularly how you wanted it attached to it. I mean, attacked at, this is the direction you were intending for it. I actually on purpose didn't go back and watch it. I'm going to go watch it right now and just put a little note on your original thing saying, hey, how much I enjoyed the tag. I mean, that's the thing with tags. It's always like, well, that person took a left and did it that way. That's odd. Or that person did it this way, and that kind of reveals something about them this way. It's always that which path will people take? It's always interesting. And my usual path is to kind of meander, wander all around cluelessly at the end of a tag and not say, thank you for this, more videos later.